So let's talk process. In this series of videos on FIT hiring, our EQFIT proprietary process, now you're seeing it. This is the process. This is the process as if we were doing a search for one of our clients. You don't have to use all of these boxes, these processes, but let me explain why we have designed and refined it over the last 30 years and come up with this. Hiring is difficult. Hiring takes a lot of time, focus, energy. So creating what I call a liberating structure, which is really a process or set of processes put together in a structure that allows you to take on a challenging task like hiring in a very effective way. And this has had many different revisions over that 30-year time frame, but it has really proven to be highly successful in finding right fit candidates and bringing them on board for organizations. I'm going to run through this very briefly because there are a few key elements I'd like to talk about that really make this process very successful and very effective. First, on the front end, notice that the yellow boxes are the ones that are specific to hiring manager involvement. The blue boxes are more behind the scenes types of things and the things that we do in the background. But if you're doing hiring on your own, of course, all of those would apply. Again, you don't have to do all of these things. And there are some you may not be able to do, such as the pre-hire assessments. But let me walk you through. We get clarity first, and that comes around those first two blue boxes. Identify the need, create a selection criteria, get consensus of all of the decision makers in the hiring process. Then we move to creating an opportunity announcement. This is not a job announcement. This is a candidate-centric approach to attracting candidates, attracting the right type of candidate so that we can have a great candidate pool to actually qualify, screen, and interview. That opportunity announcement, if you'll go to our website, which you can see at the end of this video, and look for our blog, there is an example of an opportunity announcement in the 4 steps to hiring right. So we then move into the screening process. We do not screen candidates out, we screen them in, because we know exactly what we're looking for, what that right fit candidate needs to bring to the table. When we know that to start with, the whole screening process becomes far easier and frankly, far faster. I can go through dozens and dozens of resumes very, very quickly because we have a very defined target that we're looking for. Call it a hiring profile. The next step is to get those candidates to really start to tell us about themselves. We created a proprietary tool called the Self-Rater, which is taking the items in the selection criteria and letting the candidate rate themselves on those important items and then explain why they gave themselves that rating. This is another type of resume, but it's a resume that is very specific to the needs of the position, the team, and the organization for the client that we're doing a search for. And of course, if you're doing your own hiring for you, for your organization. Then we start to use the screening assessments that give us a lot more insight into the candidate, insight that you couldn't get any other way. Again, a psychologist told me a long time ago, it's the same information you'd learn about a candidate if you worked with them for a year or two. You just get to know it before you hire them. That's a part of getting the right fit, not just a good fit, but the right fit. Then we move through getting the hiring managers involved in interviewing. We have a lot of questions that we like to ask in the interview process, and we highly recommend multiple interviews. Most organizations will do a phone interview, they'll do an in-person interview. If it looks reasonably decent, that's when they hire. And unfortunately, that rush to hire creates all kinds of issues down the road in many situations. So we recommend multiple interview processes. Really, it's getting to know the individual. Do they fit well with the team, with the organization, with the culture? Are their values in alignment with others inside the organization? If everything looks good at this point, then we want to do deeper assessments, and then we want to give them a challenge, a project, something that makes them think, that we can really see how they think, how they make decisions, how they plan, how they prioritize, how they organize. All of those kinds of things you would not normally do in the normal hiring process, the normal interview process. We've added that challenge, what we call a specific position challenge, to help us get that deeper insight into those candidates. Once all of that is done, we have a pretty good idea of what the right candidate looks like. And maybe there's 2 or 3 of them. If so, that's a huge blessing. But the key here is follow the process. Don't settle for a quick hire, because you're probably going to be doing it again in the near future if that happens. All of this is to lead into an onboarding process, that first 90 days of the new employee being on board, where you can really see how they fit the organization, the team, and the culture, and see if that's going to be a great long-term fit. That's the goal. Great long-term fit for both the organization and the employee, because right fit is a two-way street.